This is Jody Hill, and I am so excited that I had such a powerful conversation with Kim Sorrelle talking about the power of our words and the impact that we can make on our children for life. Cannot wait for you to listen to it and dive in with us. Thank you so much. Excited for you to listen.
Welcome to the show. I'm so happy you're here. You are going to be so happy you're here. I'm Kim Sorrelle. I speak, I write, I get to do a lot of fun things in life, but my favorite thing to do by far is to meet people. And I get to meet the coolest people ever. And today is my friend Jody Hill, who I met. I'm not even sure how long it's been. Maybe Jody knows, but we spent this pretty intense, really cool time together and just bonded. And I love Jody in every way. She's a parenting expert. So you're going to want to hear her wisdom. She's got a book out that is so powerful and so good. And she's fun. It's not like Parenting 101 and you're doing this wrong. It's nothing like that. Jody is so far from that. And you're going to feel empowered and feel great about being a parent or a grandparent. And so I'm so excited to have her. Welcome to the show, my friend Jody.
Thank you, Kim. Yeah, I think we met about, was it maybe 2 years ago or a year and a half ago? It's been a little bit, but we're finally doing this. And I just say, like, I love your heart for people and your message. And I'm just so honored that I get to be a part of what you're doing here in this space. So thank you.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, no problem. And I'm so happy that you're available to do this. And I'm so excited about what you have going. And we're going to talk about all that, but I want to start with you. So I want to start with you telling us all about 8-year-old Jody.
8-year-old Jody was a second grader in Michigan, had just moved back from Europe. My family was there for 2 years doing some missionary work. And so 8-year-old Jody, though, for the most part, grew up pretty much in a bubble, like Christian home, loved the Lord since I was a little girl. Um, the home was just a great environment where my parents, my mom especially, was always talking kindly and sweet. And so I'm in private school and all the things. And little did I know that 8-year-old Jody was going to have that bubble burst a little bit when fourth grade came and she switched to public school. So I loved my life growing up. I was a middle daughter of two sisters and grew up in Michigan for the most part. And I loved horses. And I always wanted to be a mom, but I wasn't like crazy about babysitting. But that was kind of just like who I was at the time. But it was in fourth grade that I would say a bigger shift happened in my life because when I moved to public school, like I was called an idiot for the first time in my life. And also, I had a teacher, my fourth grade teacher, like stand at the front of the classroom and yell, "Shut up" to the class. And that for like little Jody to hear that was like, oh my gosh. And those were just like little mile markers in my life that have really like played into what I talk about now, which is the power of our words and how it impacts children for life. So,
Yeah, for life. And indeed for life.
yeah,
So did you, I mean, how sad.
I
Doesn't
know,
sound
right?
like your teacher was all that great. And the kids too, to call you names,
Yeah,
it can be so difficult to change schools. It's one thing if you're
yeah,
all coming in together at kindergarten, but
right.
that friend groups that are already formed and whatever, how did it go for you to meet friends and feel like you're a part of the school?
Yeah, when I was young, a lot of it was a blur. And I think part of it was we were just adaptive. So kindergarten, I was in an international school in Belgium. And then first and second and third grade, I was in the private school. Then fourth grade, public school. And then I had homeschool for the next 2 years and then back to private school, right? So I feel like there was a lot of confidence that I had, even though, there was a lot of change. I felt like I always carried this confidence with me. And that is because of how my parents raised us and instilled us. Sure, you have more personalities that are outgoing and you're like, I want to meet all the friends. Like that's one of my daughters, Ember. She is going to be class president someday. She will make a friend instantly and knows everybody's names, right? Then you have more introverted kids like my other daughter, London, where, give her her core group of friends and she's good to go. And so regardless if we have outgoing kids or if we're outgoing or more introverted, like you can still carry that confidence. And that was okay for me switching things and just navigating stuff because I had that confidence in who I was and my identity instilled in me at such a young age through my parents.
Yeah, that's so good. That's so good. So when you were in school, did you know what you wanted to do with your life, or did you have, a dream of being a princess? What was your dream?
Not a princess, but I wanted to be an actress and a model. I thought that was really cool and I wanted to be famous someday. And now, as I am an older adult, I'm like, oh, Jesus, thank you for not making that a reality. And it's funny, I got a little taste of it for a little bit because me and my first husband at the time, we were photographers in the photo industry. And so when he was getting into photography, he would set up all of his lights and he would take photos of me, literally like falling asleep on the couch. He's like, I just need to like get this right. And so I got to be a model. And then we became well known a bit in the photo industry. So in that small pocket, we'd go to Vegas for a photo conference and like people knew who we were and it was really cool. And then you go back to the airport or back home and no one even knows who you are. So I got a little bit of taste of that, but that was it. I did not become a famous actress or model, but I would still love to be in a movie someday. I think it'd be super fun.
Well, you're obviously very creative, right? Like
Yes.
you can't be a good photographer without being creative. You can't
Right.
write without being creative. I
Right.
think I would even venture to say it's so much easier to parent if you have a creative bone in your body, right?
100%. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So here you are, you were married and you've got these beautiful kids,
I
and
do.
then the world fell apart.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was married for 16 years and around 2020, it came to a head where I knew what I needed to do was to step away from the marriage, which was super hard. At the time, my youngest, so I have four kids and a bonus daughter, but we'll get to the bonus daughter later. But I had four kids at the time. So my youngest was just turned two, like literally just turned two. So I had a two, a three and a half, a 5, and a 6 year old, like super young. And I'm like, I know this is something that I need to do. And yet, my biggest fear in that time was how is this going to impact my children? Because you hear a lot of divorce statistics, right? You hear about low self esteem, you hear about just how it impacts them for life. And so there is this belief around that. Like, we even had a book that was given to us of like, do not get divorced because this is how it's going to like impact your kids. And I was like, I had to come to the moment of regardless if I stay in the marriage or if I don't, my kids are going to be impacted regardless. So, what is it that I'm choosing? So, anyway, stepped into divorce, and there was this fear of like, oh, your kids are going to be messed up. And I felt myself starting to align with that. And I was like, hold up. Like, what is truth? And do I have to believe that? And that is something that I talk about today is how our beliefs shape our identity, which shape our actions, which shape who we become. So I realized like I am not going to align with that belief. And secondly, what can I do in my power to raise kids who are confident, who are capable, and who can thrive through life's challenges? Because whether it's divorce or a hard breakup with a boyfriend or bullying at school or anything that life has to offer, there is going to be hard times. There are going to be. So, how can I raise kids that can thrive in the midst of that? They know their identity, they know who they are, they have that confidence. And so, even though that divorce time was really hard in my life, like it was really pivotal for what I do and what I talk about today.
Yeah, I can't imagine how hard it must have been because it wasn't just the marriage, you worked together. So
Yeah.
here you kind of went from having all of this to kind of
Yeah.
you and the
Not like
kids.
restarting. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, starting all over again. And
Yeah.
that is difficult. It's difficult anyway, but difficult especially with four little kids.
Yeah.
And And it can be hard, I think, too, to put your focus the way you did on your kids because
Yeah.
you're reeling, you're mourning, right? You're grieving,
Yeah.
your world's been turned upside down. And
Yeah.
so to be able to say, well, first I got to think about my kids. That's not the easiest thing to do. I mean,
Yeah.
it's what any mom would want to do, but when push comes to shove and you're in the middle of it, that is not easy, Jody.
Yeah. It was a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot for sure. So kudos to you for doing
Thanks.
that. Yes, and life has come a long way since then.
Yes, it
And
has.
yes, it has. You met Mr. Wonderful.
I did.
So gorgeous, by the way. He's such a handsome man.
And he's such a good man. I say like his inside matches his outside. Like I thought I remember telling a girlfriend by the pool, I'm like, it'll probably be 10 years before someone comes into my life. You know, it's not a desire of mine right now. I'm like focused on my kids. I'm focused on like figuring out, okay, like what is my thing now? I don't want to do photography anymore because it got to a point we just did it because that's how we knew how to make money, but it didn't make my heart come alive anymore. So I'm like, I'm going to get my crap together. I'm going to figure this all out. And then finally, a man maybe will probably enter into my life. But I just had no idea that it would be so soon. And also too, it's like, I realized that there's value to marrying me, but I was like, who is going to also want four kids? Like, that's a tall order, right? And I wanted someone who viewed them as a bonus instead of as baggage. Like, yeah, Jody, I like you, but man, you got these four kids that come with you. And so it wasn't even on my radar. And, funny quick story. I remember there was just some stuff going on with the divorce process that I needed support for. And maybe the divorce was over already. And so I had this sweet woman praying for me in the church parking lot. And then she starts praying for my future husband. And I was like, I am so not even there yet. Like, freshly divorced, like, that's not on my radar, like all the things. And she's like, she just said some encouraging response. I was like, well, can we pray then, like, for someone tall, dark, and handsome? She's like, girl, God has got you. And sure enough, this tall, dark, handsome man comes into my life who always wanted more kids and loves my kids. And it's just, I mean, that's a whole story in and of itself. God brought me to him in a dream. And there's so many cool stories about that can share it another time. But yeah, like totally shifted and changed my world.
Yeah, that's so cool. I know. I'm so happy for you because
Thank
anytime you
you.
talk about him, you glow, and
Yeah,
so it's wonderful. And your bonus daughter, you got out of
I
it too.
know.
So a nice package deal with
I
him.
know she fits right in, right in. Same
That's
age
so
as
good.
my older daughter. So it's just so sweet to see the relationship. And she loves me so much. And it's just so sweet. Like, God is so good. I never would have seen that for my life.
Yeah, that's so good. That's so good. So
Yeah.
when did you decide that you knew? So it's the parent secret superpower.
Yep.
When did you decide you knew what that superpower was? How did you figure it out?
I feel like it was everything just, I mean, that's how God works, right? Just bringing in little pieces together. And as I set out with an intention to be really intentional with my kids during the divorce process and beyond and continually, it just started to come clear. And it's funny how God works things out where I came across like a YouTube ad about being an author, and I was like, ooh, like doing audiobooks. I was like, well, maybe that's something I could help make money at right now as I'm trying to figure my thing out. And so like that kind of sparked a seed. And then they had this writing challenge. And I was like, well, what am I going to do for this writing challenge? And I was like, what am I passionate about? Well, I'm really passionate about parenting. That like really makes my heart come alive. And as I'm going through this challenge, this is just where it came out. And it was so cool because I had all of these resources to pull from of my own story, my upbringing, how that impacted me, the science that I started to come across about the literal like science that God has built for the power of our words, right? And then, of course, the scriptures that talk about our words and like speaking life and death. And just so as I was just doing this research for my own kids, and then just kind of doing this fun writing project on my own, and then just parents coming up to me and just saying different things, I was like, This is so good. Like, I can't keep this to myself. And that's how the book came about. But it was through all these little interactions and what I was looking up, I was like, the Lord just brought to me the power that our words are contained inside of us. And that's why I call it a secret superpower, because every parent has it. I mean, everyone has a superpower, but they don't realize that they have it. You don't have to have a master's degree. You don't have to go to like whatever, all this schooling and stuff to get this power to use it and yield it wisely and powerfully. Like you have it within you already. So that is what has become like my heart and mission, to equip parents to see what the superpower is and then how to easily know how to yield it and impact their children, as we said, for life.
Yeah, so good. So good. So talk about the superpower.
Yeah. I remember, I remember being a little girl. I was the good girl. I'm just going to say that I was the good daughter, barely got in trouble. And yet there were times that my mom made me write sentences. And I remember the verse because I had to write it a lot, not a lot, but I will let no unwholesome talk come out of my mouth, but only what is helpful for building others up according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen. And so my youngest introduction to the power of our words was through my faith and through my parents and through writing sentences. And as we talk about verses, like in Proverbs that talk about the tongue has the power of life and death. And, Proverbs 12:18 says, wise words bring healing. So now, like, I always thought that that was just, oh, be kind with your words, it brings healing. But like as we look at science then and the impact of like our words have on our body, it's just crazy. So have you heard of Dr. Masaru Emoto
Familiar name,
with
yeah.
the water
Yeah, with
experiments,
water
right? So
experiment. Yeah.
anyone who hasn't heard of him, what Dr. Masaru Emoto did is he took water from a lake in Japan and he split, and this is what's so cool because like science is backing up scripture, right? So he split these water samples into two groups. One water sample, he wrote positive words on the water. He spoke positive words to it. He played beautiful music and like sent good intentions, like good thoughts to this water sample, and then he froze it. And then he turned to the other water sample that he had and he did the opposite. He wrote like, I hate you. He just put negative thoughts and intentions and all the things towards this water sample. He froze it. And then he looked at the frozen water samples through a microscope, and the results are astounding. So what you see, and here, I got my shameless plug for my playbook, but check this out. Actually, in the playbook that I actually have images of, okay, so here, this image right here is Amazing Grace. Like what you're seeing is this beautiful, like snowflake. It just looks so beautiful. Here is the word peace. So again, you see the snowflake, beautiful. And now check out this. This one right here is You Disgust Me. And
Mm,
it's just a frozen blob of blobbiness. Or like right here is You Fool.
mm,
And so like this is scientifically measured, right? And I think what's so interesting about this is if our words, I'm not even talking about the impact that it has on like the mental, our beliefs and all that stuff, but if our words alone can have power like this to affect water, what is the power that our words are having on the physical body of the people who are that we're speaking to, specifically our children? Did you know that children have even a higher percentage of water in their bodies than adults do?
mm,
So powerful, right? And all of our diseases, they tie our diseases back to anxiety and stress. It's like 95% of diseases are all tied to health issues. And health issues, they begin oftentimes in the mind. So think about this. Think about drug trials, right? So they're testing this drug for headaches. And so what do when they're testing a drug? Do they give everyone the drug? No, they split them into two groups. Why do
mhm,
they do that? Right? They have a placebo group. So they have a group that they're actually giving them the drug to. And then they have a group that they're just giving them a sugar pill. But why do they do that? Because they want to test the actual effectiveness of the drug. Because the people who believe that they are getting the drug for the headaches, they will show that they have less headaches, that it reduces their symptoms. And it's all in the power of the mind. So powerful. And as parents, we shape our children's minds and we shape our children's beliefs through our words. So if we can use our words to empower them, encourage them, build them up, their mind and their belief and their identity is going to shift and it will impact how they show up in life, which is so powerful. It's so amazing. It's so cool how God created that.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love it. It is crazy how powerful our mind is, and uh it is amazing what our words mean.
Yes.
And so even joking around, there's some people that are real negative jokers. Well,
Yep.
that can just get in somebody's soul
Oh,
without
yeah.
even knowing it. And so
Yep.
kind of watch your words with everybody. I had a moment, Jody, that words crushed me. I think we
Mm,
all probably have moments we can look back at that, like, idiot and shut up
yeah.
for you, right?
Yeah.
I played basketball in high school, and I was at a brand new school that I hadn't been to before. And basketball was in the fall then. And on game days, we had to wear a dress. And I was already nervous. First basketball game, high school basketball game, all the stuff, right? New high school. And
It's a lot.
yeah, and I was at my locker getting books, whatever it was I was doing. And this boy just grade ahead of me, a sophomore, walked up and he said, "Those are the ugliest legs I've ever seen." Yeah,
Oh my
I was
gosh.
crushed. And I thought, oh my gosh, what do I do? You have to wear a dress. Like, what do
Wow.
it destroyed me in the moment. It
That's
was like,
horrible.
it was horrible. It was a horrible thing for him to say. I got over it. But yeah, what a horrible thing to say. And you think about that, the words that you say stick.
Yeah.
It's like our minds are like glue.
Yeah.
We remember the things that are said to us, and the negative things are so easy to remember
I
because
know.
what happens in that moment, is tragic. I mean, it's you never want a kid to hear something really bad
No.
like that. It's mean. And
And
so, yeah, and the opposite of that is when you have an English teacher that tells you you're a good writer,
right.
an art teacher that appreciates what you just drew, or you
Yes.
know you can be one or you can be the other. and
Right.
and what I like about your book, Jody, and you've got a book that goes with it, which is so good, the playbook and guide, which is so good. um but it's not about helicopter parenting. It's
Yeah.
not about everybody gets a trophy. It's not
Right.
about,
No.
right.
Nope. Yeah.
It's not about that, which people
Right.
could think that,
Right.
oh my gosh, if you're just feeding your kids all these great, we're telling them how awesome they are, they're going to get these inflated heads and think that
Right.
they're something they're not. And that's
Right.
not what this is about.
No. No. And that, yeah, I mean, that is such a great point. And I love this one quote where it says, confidence isn't given to your children, it's earned. They get to earn it. And you're right. It's not helicopter parenting. It's not doing everything for them. It's not just telling them, well, you're so brilliant. Because what happens if they fail a test? They're like, well, mom said I'm brilliant. And then they're like, what's wrong with me? So, like, I love this example that I share about my daughter tying her shoes. And I think this is such a beautiful example of what it looks like to partner with our children in helping them earn that confidence. So, they were little, single momming it, trying to get everyone out the door on time. You know how that can be, even just with not for kids. It's a lot, right? And so I come across my daughter. She's by the front door, and I immediately assess the situation. She's in tears, and I'm like, okay, she's trying to tie her shoes. Tears were falling down her face. The shoe is on the floor, lace is all amuck, and I just see like she is on the struggle bus. So, option number one, I can come in and I can do this for her. I can tie shoes. I can tie shoes really fast and we can do it, get done. You're fine. You're okay. Get out the door. Right. And yet, and that's the easiest way too. Right. And yet, like moments like that are opportunities where we get to show our kids that we believe in them. We get to be their champion and they get to try on this confidence thing. And so what happened was is I came down next to her. And when they're in such a dysregulated state, they're just like, like a little bit of soothing is required oftentimes. It's like, oh, I see you're really frustrated. She's like, yeah. And I was like, are you trying to tie your shoes? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, oh, baby, I get that. I remember when I was learning to tie my shoes, it was so hard and it was really frustrating at times. But you know what? Like, you've done this before and you can do hard things. Would you like for me to show you how to do it again? She's like, yeah. So I'm right there. I show her how to do it. Then I undo the laces again and I pass the shoe off to her. She picks it up and scoots it closer to her and she starts to do it. I'm not doing it for her, but I'm right there. I'm cheering her on. I'm encouraging her. And wouldn't you know, she did it. And she was so thrilled, like so thrilled. And now she's got that confidence in her tool belt of like, okay, I did this again. I knew I could do it. And now next time when she approaches that shoe tying incident, she has that memory of like, I did this and I can do it again. And so that's such a simple example of what that looks like as we partner with our kids in confidence and in getting those skills. We're not taking those away from them. We're not robbing them of learning and struggle as much as we want to, right? Like I love my kids and I don't want to see them in pain. And yet those are beautiful opportunities for us to cheer them on and encourage them and for them to struggle a little bit and do it themselves.
Yeah. Oh gosh, what a great point. What a great point. Because it is so hard to watch your kids struggle.
Oh my gosh.
You know,
Yeah.
it's so hard. I had a situation. One of my sons was getting bullied in school in junior high,
Mm,
and he would cry after school. And here he's 12 years old or whatever, and he's crying. With
oh my
12-year-old boys
gosh.
don't cry a lot. And so I'm like, we're pulling him out of school. That's it. Poor
Yeah.
kid. He doesn't have to go through this. And
Yeah.
my husband was like, no,
Mm,
he's got to learn how to deal with it. And so my husband would take him down. We had a workout area in our basement, and take him down and lift weights. And he taught him how to hit, basically.
mm,
And he said, never throw the first punch.
mm.
But if that kid starts hitting you, you hit back and you don't stop until someone pulls you off of him. And I'm still really upset. You're teaching my son how to hit
Ah,
people, whatever.
he's
Like
gonna be a violent kid.
I just wasn't getting it. Like it just didn't feel right. But then I got a phone call from school.
Oh
So,
no.
a couple months later, however long it wasn't that much later, but I got a phone call from school, and it was a teacher that I knew. And he said, Kim, you got to come and pick up Paul. He's suspended for 3 days. And he was such a good kid. There was no way
Mm.
Paul would ever get in trouble to get suspended. I'm like, well, what? And he said, yeah. And buy him ice cream and take him to the movies,
Oh,
give him whatever he wants. And I'm like, what? What are you
what
talking
is
about?
happening?
But during gym class, the kid threw a punch and Paul started hitting. And I picture that scene from A Christmas Story where Ralphie's got the bully down on the
Yeah.
ground and he's walking, whatever, just hitting him,
Yeah.
hitting him, hitting him. His mom pulls him up. And that's what it sounds like. And the teacher walked over slowly and just was like,
Mm.
oh, Paul, because Paul had the upper hand and this kid was a bully. But
Wow.
they teachers have a hard time catching a bully or really
Yeah.
dealing with a bully. And so here Paul's dealing with the bully, and it worked. I mean, the kid was not
Wow.
mean to him or and his friends anymore. Like
Yes.
it was good. And so my husband was 100% right
Mm.
to handle it that way, but it was killing me. It
Oh
was
my
killing
gosh.
me to
Yeah.
see the pain in my son. But it's your
Mm.
same story with tying shoes. I
Yeah.
mean, it would have been so easy to just go, we're on our way out the door. I'll just do it for you, and deal with it later, whatever.
Yeah.
But to take the time, I think that's like something I know I missed when my kids were little
It's
was
hard.
taking the time.
Yes.
And really, in reality, how much time do you think it was? Like 2 minutes?
Right. Not that much. We make it
Yeah,
up that it's so much time.
right, right, right. But it's not that long. And so to
No.
don't let that moment go by, but use that moment to put confidence in them. Man,
Right.
I love that story. I love that that's how you handle that.
Thank you. I mean, it's so powerful and it's a lot of trial and error, right? I'm just like, it's like, and I encourage parents, like, think about what you want your end goal to be. And I think that really helps us in the moment where we want to like swoop in, we want to rescue, we want to do things for them. But it's like, what is the impact of my choice in this moment right now? And it's so easy as parents, like you said, we just want to get it done and we're reacting in all of these moments, right? But it's like, what is actually going to grow and shape my child into a responsible human being? And it goes even as simple as, one of my superpower there, I share 7 superpower strategies, right? Super simple things. And one of them is just empower kids for their own missions. And again, like what that means in this case is like, don't rob them of that learning and growing and like the tasks that they need to do. As simple examples, when my kids were little, they would make messes and not intentionally, but they would make messes. And guess what? They got to clean them up. And so they learn, and I think this is really important too. Our kids are going to make mistakes and we get to be there for them and be a safe place for them to mess up and let them know that mistakes are okay. So they knocked down a cereal box on the kitchen floor. Or one time, my oldest son was maybe 2.5, and he knocked a whole Costco size of blueberries on the floor. But I'm like, that kid has dexterity and he can pick things up. So he's going to be picking up these blueberries, right? But anyway, so like they make messes and stuff like that. And so even as a young age, I was like, okay, all right, I see we made a little bit of mess here. We can clean it up. I've made messes too, right? So just letting them know that it's okay to make messes. There's no shame, right? But I still want my kids to take ownership and responsibility for what they did. So it's like, how can they take ownership without shame and responsibility without fear? Like all of that. And so we get to create those safe environments. And so it's like, okay, I see all these blueberries. All right, or I see the cereal. Okay, here's the dustpan, here's the broom. I'll sweep this up with you. This is how you hold it. This is how you do it. Takes forever when they're little, like, oh my gosh. And you kind of have to like go up after them, after they've done it when they're around the corner. But now when my kids make a mess, like I don't even ask them to clean it up. They know where the brooms are, they know how to do it, they know how to sweep up. And so we get to empower our kids for their own missions like that, whether that be, having them make their own doctor's appointments when they get older. Or my young kid, like all my kids, when we go to Chipotle and we order our burrito bowls, like they get to speak and order their own bowls. And if I do all of that for them, like where are they going to get the confidence that they get to earn, on their own to navigate life without them if I'm constantly doing it for them?
That's so true. That's so true. Yeah, that takes a lot of foresight to think, well, what are they going to need to do as an adult?
Yeah.
What are they going to need to know? How are they going
Yeah.
to need to act? How do you want them to act and react
Right.
as an
Yeah.
adult?
Yep.
And those things do get instilled in them early. And
Mhm.
so that's so smart. Let your kids with no shame. I love the way you
Yeah.
put that, because shame is big, and shame
Mm.
can stick with a kid.
Yeah.
Shame can stick with an adult. It can stick with you your whole life. Like
100%.
yeah, your most embarrassing moments, the moments that you could take back if you could, or whatever. But shame isn't anything we should ever inflict on our children.
No. And I think as parents, for some reason, I feel like that can be the default. Like you did something wrong. And so I'm going to let you know that you did something wrong. And I'm going to make you feel bad about it. But like as adults, like think about that. Does that work for us as adults? Like when we mess up, like we know we've messed up. Does someone like bashing it in our face like really help us feel better about it? No. So like take an older kid, for example, like they come home and they didn't do well on a test. They know they didn't do their best, right? They already feel crappy about it. Well, most kids probably would, some don't. But say we have a kid who does feel bad about it. So instead of being like, man, I knew you're not a smart kid. I knew you slacked off. I knew blah, 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 blah. Like that is not helpful. But instead, again, how can we have them take responsibility without shame and ownership without fear? So it's like, yeah, that is a disappointment. What do you think didn't work this time as you were studying for your test? What do you think you could do better next time? And then, that gets them into problem solving instead of mommy swooping in and trying to like tell them what to do and try and fix it for them and make it awesome for them. They get to take that ownership. And then it may be something like, hey, next time a test comes up and they want to hang out with friends, it's like, I don't know if that's the best choice. Remember what happened last time? And so there's like natural consequences too that get to play into this where they get to learn. Because what's going to happen when they go to a job and they start showing up late every day? Their mommy's not going to come in and be like pulling them out of bed, like getting them to work, right? They have a natural consequence of, hey, if you keep showing up late and not doing your best, you're going to lose your job. So they get to learn now in the safety of our home where we have a motto: we learn from mistakes, you know?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And the safety, I like that you said that because it's so true. It's you have them and they're in a safe environment. Hopefully you've
Yeah.
created a sense of safety for them and given them a safe environment where mistakes can happen without them falling apart or they learn you learn so much in your
Yeah.
first 2 years, in your first 4 years, in first 8 years, and then as an
So
adolescent
much.
and then a teen. I mean, constantly learning and new experiences and new things coming your way.
Yeah.
And if you can really learn the right way to deal with things, the right way to
Yes.
handle it, not fly off the handle, but like
Yeah.
talk, whatever,
Yeah.
it's a whole different ballgame for a kid.
Yeah. And for parents like who are thinking like about what I'm saying, or even grandparents, right? And they're
Mhm.
like, well, crap, like I can't do this all the time. Like I am not a perfect parent. And I want to assure you, I am not either. But this is what I think about the beauty of what God does is he makes like amazing things out of our mistakes, right? He turns all things for good. So what I love about even in the moments when we fail, and I'm happy to share a story. I've got quite a few, but God is like, how can I use this? And so, what I love is when we quote unquote fail as parents or lose our cool or don't get it right, those are opportunities for our kids to learn what it looks like to own your mistakes, to come to someone, apologize, ask for forgiveness, and repair with that relationship. That is so powerful. As you know, you've probably heard a lot. We can talk until we're blue in the face and tell our kids all the right things that they need to do and not do. But what they actually pick up is the things that they experience and they see. So even in our imperfections, we get to model for them what it looks like to own our own stuff and ask for forgiveness and repair. And it's such a beautiful thing to see when your kids are able to do that when they mess up. So,
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit more because I know that there are people that feel like you never need to apologize to your kid, or
mm,
if you do, it somehow weakens your position in the family or
mm,
in their eyes. And if everybody just thinks about it for a minute, think about it. Have you ever apologized to your kid? And are there times you should have apologized to your kid? So
mm,
tell me the psychology behind that as well. Like you've already talked about what it does absolutely for a kid, but what should a parent be thinking in that moment about that it's okay to apologize to your kid,
right.
okay to own your mistake?
I mean, in my experience, it goes back to the Bible, right? The Bible is all about forgiveness and so like our we get to let our kids model that at a young age. And so like I understand that it's like, well, I shouldn't have to apologize to my child. And yet, like think about the parent-child relationship. It's about connection, right? Like we want to be connected with our children. We love them, they love us. And when they have a secure connection with us, that's when they feel loved, they feel safe, and whatever. So, what happens when we show up and I had a friend, her dad came up and just like hit her in the forehead, kind of like did like a bonk. Not, and like as an adult, she still cries about that moment. Her
Mm-hmm.
dad never brought it up again. I remember an experience that I had with my father where it was just an experience where like it created a chasm between us. And the beautiful thing about forgiveness and apologies is that's a way to repair. And I feel like personally, when an apology is not given, an ownership is not taken, and forgiveness isn't asked for, it's almost a way of saying is what I did was okay to you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not the kind of model that I want to live out for my kids. Like when I get really frustrated and I raise my voice and I yell at them, like I can be frustrated. That's okay. But do I need to yell? Do I need to be unkind with my words? Like, no, I don't need to do that. And so I feel like by not addressing the hurt that happened to them and even giving them space of being like, I got really frustrated and I yelled at you and I am really sorry about that. Do you want to share how that impacted you? And then there's so much healing when it's like, oh my gosh, my mom cares about my thoughts and my heart and my feelings. And it was like, yeah, I was really sad or whatever. And it's like, I am really sorry about that. And that is not how I want to treat you. I'm going to work on that. I'm going to get better on that. And will you forgive me? Like there is so much beautiful repair that happens. And that's why, God even talks in the Bible is like, forgive 70 times 70, because if you hold that unforgiveness, it creates a wedge between people. And so I think that by actually going to your child and asking for forgiveness, it's very humbling. And, you're squelching your pride and everything, which is godly. That actually creates connection between you and your child. And
Mhm.
that's what God the Father is about, is connection with us. That's how he fathers us. And that's how we get to model and father and model with our children.
Oh my gosh, that was so good, Jody. Yeah, you're so right because for so many reasons. But if nothing is ever said, something happens, your friend getting vonked by her dad,
Yeah.
nothing is ever said, nothing is ever done, then the narrative of what that is
Yeah.
only negative and
Yeah.
it's only bad. And it
Yes.
is going to create this wedge, right?
Yeah.
Whereas if you instead, in maybe not in that exact moment, because you might
Yeah.
cool
It
off,
may need to cool down
you might need to
100%.
cool down,
Yep.
but go and talk about it and apologize and
Yep.
whatever, like man, the narrative shifts, it changes from
100%.
yeah. So it isn't something that you then have to cry about your whole life because
Right.
it's been dealt with.
Right.
Things that aren't ever dealt with, they just fester.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's brilliant. I mean, it is. It's so true. I had a moment with my dad,
Mm.
and I know I'm at fault. I was like 14 or something, and we all, and I have two brothers, and we all had a little portable black and white TV. I'm old, and that we got for Christmas, whatever. And mine was in the basement, and I hated going to the basement alone. I thought I knew there wasn't anything bad down there, but I thought for sure, you know,
Basements back in the
Friday
day, man.
somebody's yeah, exactly should be there. And so I didn't want to go get my TV. And so I asked my brother to get it. And my dad overheard and said, Kim, you're old enough. Just go get your own TV. He was mad that I was afraid of the basement. And so I'm like, I'm not going to the basement. And so I went and asked my other brother if I could just use his TV. And he said, yeah, I could use his TV. Well, my dad heard that and he came up and I said, well, he told me. I totally lipped off to my dad. He told me I could use it. What do you care? Whatever. My dad slapped me across the face.
Wow.
Yeah, I got a bloody nose. I
Whoa.
hyperventilated. Like it was, and I
Whoa.
milked it. I know I milked it for everything it could be. My dad is standing there feeling so horrible. I mean, I know how horrible like he was just feeling bad. Even you could tell he was feeling bad. And we didn't talk about it in that moment, but the next day he brought me home a necklace,
Mm.
and I knew that was him apologizing. And
Oh.
so words didn't even need to be said.
Mm.
Uh, but then I I look at that I think differently than I would.
Mm.
My dad is some sort of ogre, but man, Kim,
Right.
I was talking back. I was disobedient. I was talking back. Sure, he shouldn't have slapped me, but he also knew he
Yes.
shouldn't have slapped me, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that changes everything. I mean,
Wow.
it's just changes everything. So,
Yeah.
such wisdom, Jody. It's so good. What do you see parents do that if they made one little shift could change and it could change everything?
I think pausing. I think that can be the biggest thing that parents can do. I mean, like, think about your dad in that moment. Like, he was fired up and he was reactive, right? And so, because he didn't pause in that moment, like, he acted in a way that I'm sure he's, regretted for a very, very long time, right? And so I think that is the biggest thing that we can do as parents is pause in those moments where we want to just like spurt out our frustration. We want to shame them. We want to point out everything they did wrong and everything that they did bad is like pause and what is my end goal? What is my end goal with my child? How do I want them to turn out? What do I want them to learn from this situation? And that just makes such a huge difference, like huge difference. If we can just like chill out for a minute. And honestly, too, like for those of like your listeners who are believers, ask God for wisdom. You know, James says, ask me for wisdom and I will give it to you. And I literally have been in moments with my kids where I'm like, of all the parenting things that I've learned and implemented and done, I have no idea what to do in this moment. And it's like, God, I need your wisdom. Your word says you'll give it. If we ask, and I'm asking, please give me your wisdom. And sure enough, like the Lord in my mind, it pops an idea of how I can navigate that situation. And so ask for wisdom, pray, ask for what you need. Like, Lord, help me to have patience, help me to have calm, help me to have wisdom and insight in these moments with my children where I just don't know what to do. And God will show up for you. Like, that's the kind of God we serve. So
Yeah.
pause, think of your end goal, and pray.
Yeah, yeah, that's so good. That's so good. Because the end goal isn't just about thinking how they're going to be as an adult, but it's thinking about what in this particular moment, what's the end goal?
Yeah.
And is the end goal for them to learn
Yeah.
something from it, to learn
Yeah.
not to touch the stove,
Yeah.
or whatever, not to push
Yeah.
somebody so high on a swing, or I don't know, whatever it is.
Whatever it is.
Is
Yes.
it is that what you want? Is you just want them to learn to not do it again? I mean,
Yeah.
that's what you want, really.
Right.
And
Right.
do you want them to feel shame? Do you want them to feel guilt?
No, I know.
Bad? No, like why would we ever want that for our kids?
I know.
And so, yeah, I love it. I love that. And so pausing, not easy.
Yes. No, nope, nope, nope. But what's cool is that as you like, this has now just been a muscle in my life that I've just, it comes more naturally, right? And so again, it's not just about even the moments that we talked about where it's easy to shame. It's like, how can I encourage and uplift my kids in those moments? And then as we, as parents, keep doing that, your kids, they catch on to that. And like, instead of, using negative words of like, oh, she's a stubborn one, he's the dramatic one, you're just not really good in school. Like, how can we use words that affirm them and like affirm not the end goal, you're so smart, or you got an A, great job, but it's like, I notice how hard you worked and I'm really proud of you. You stuck with it, like that speaks to their character and the identity, and they take that stuff and they carry it with them. And then what I was saying is like it's cool because you see that come out in your children.
Mm.
I don't know if we have time, but I can share a really sweet story
Yeah.
that okay, so my son was 6 years old at the time, and for the life of him, he just wanted a scooter. But finally, at 6, he was like, "I'm ready to learn how to ride a bike." So I got him those balance bikes, those bikes without pedals, and so he's learning how to do it. And then I found on Marketplace in our neighborhood someone who was getting rid of a real bike, and I was like, "Do you want me to get this?" He was like, "Yes." And so he was so excited. I got it late that night. And so on in the car ride on the way to school, I was like, Phoenix, I was like, I've got your bike. And would you like to try and learn how to ride it after school? And he was like, yes. Like he was so pumped. And he was really excited about it. But me as the mom wanting to like protect his tender little heart, I wanted to bring a little bit of reality to the situation of like, hey, you may not get it on your first time. Like it may take a little bit, of practice and work. Because his sister, when she was learning, she had some epic falls. And, so like I was about to like say that when all of a sudden his sister, who's 16 months older than him, she said, Phoenix, you are going to do such a great job. I'll help you. You're going to get it on your first try. And I was like, oh crap. Like I appreciated her encouragement and her positivity and like that she exuded in that moment for him. And I thought it was so beautiful. And then also there's the like realist part of me where it's like, that may not actually happen. So I'm like, how do I balance that with like speaking life and not speaking death to him, but also encouraging him? And so what I said, I was like, buddy, I was like, you've learned the hardest part, which is balancing. I know that you're going to get it when you keep trying. And I just said something like that, right? After school, sure enough, he gets on the bike and we had a little downward slope. And he, wouldn't you know it, like he got it the first time. I'm like, what? And I was like, how cool is that? So I was like, was it because of the confidence from his sister? Was it because of the skills he learned? I don't know, but he had this belief because of the words that his sister had for him and spoke to him that she learned in my home that he could do it. I'm like, that is the kind of people, those are the kind of kids, those are the kids that I want to raise. I want to impact this generation of kids who speak positively. They speak life, they have confidence, they know their identity, they know their belief who they are. They can walk into a room and be okay with not knowing the answers, but knowing that if they try hard enough and work hard enough, they can do it. And their identity then doesn't come from what they do and, just like all of the things. And so it's like, I truly believe that we can make an impact on this generation of kids if we just use our words in a powerful way that God created them to be used.
That's so good. That's so good. Not even just with your own kids, but other people's kids. Like, don't be
Yes.
them down, right?
Yeah.
Just,
Teachers,
yeah,
coaches, like you have so much impact. Grandparents.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And the other thing that I noticed in raising kids way back when I was doing that is that uh, they learn something and it stays learned. So that
Mm,
particular mistake probably isn't going to happen again.
yeah.
And so it's not like the first few years are teaching, 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 right?
Over and
And
over
then
and over.
and then they're a little bit older and you're teaching and you're teaching and then they're older and I mean it's like they get to a point where you're not constantly having to
Yeah.
correct them or having
Yeah.
them to learn something
Yeah.
because they've learned it because
Yeah.
you took the time already
Yep.
to teach them
Yeah.
and yeah it gets easier.
I know. I have this friend and she had just posted on Instagram in her stories her son is a server at a restaurant and he had messed up an order. He's like a to go, he does the takeouts. And he had messed up an order and he wrote on the receipt to the people something along the lines of, I apologize for my mistake. Thank you for this opportunity to learn. And
Wow.
that person took a picture of that, called the restaurant, called the manager, which is how the mom even found out about it. And like, so cool if we can raise kids just with like, I thought that was just like the coolest story. And you can tell because the parents have been intentional to raise good kids like that.
That's so good. I love that you shared that story. Yeah, yeah. I mean, we would all be all of us moms and dads, if our kids
Yeah.
did something like that,
That's my kid. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Because it's one thing when they're with you, and that's
Yes.
another thing when they're not.
100%.
If you can't see how they're behaving, you
Yes.
hope it's good.
Yes.
You hope they're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
It's nice to know they're doing the right thing. Right.
Right.
So,
And
yeah.
then you affirm that, right? That's like another one of my simple superpower strategies is whenever you see anything good in them, even the smallest thing, like affirm that because what gets attention gets repeated, right? And so it's like I see a small glimmer of like responsibility or organization or ownership or being kind to friends and sisters. Like I was walking with my two older kids this morning and I was walking by my son and my daughter was on the scooter and she was more in the street and a car started coming up and he was like, London, scoot over. And and I just gave him like a big side hug. I was like, you are such a good brother to her. Thank you for looking out for her. And,
Oh,
like so sweet, right? And it's like those little moments, don't take them for granted. Affirm the kids and they will repeat those behaviors.
yeah, that's so good. Such great advice, Jody. Like all of it is. Your book is so good. Like every parent out there should own your book. I mean, even if you think you're doing a really great job parenting, you will learn
Always more to
something
learn.
from this. Always more to learn. Or if you're struggling. And so I would ask you this, like what about the parent that's listening and going, my kids are already 8 and 9 years old, like it's too late for me. What would you say to them?
It is not too late. And funny, you should ask that. I actually address that in the chapter of my book. Like after I go over the superpower strategies, it's like, okay, now what? I realize I haven't done a great job as I could have. My kids are a little bit older. And what I would say is it's never, ever, ever, ever too late. Remember, we have power in our words. It's not a power that just starts when our kids are little. Like we still have the power to change right now, even if you have teen kids, like even if you have adult kids, it is never too late to change how you show up with your kids. And you know what I talk about in my book is I think it's a really great conversation to bring your kids in on and be like, hey, I'm learning this thing about the power of our words. Here's this water experiment. Like, what do you think about that? And I'm realizing that I actually haven't done the best job of being encouraging with my words. And this is something that I'm going to work on. And I'm wondering, do you want to join in this with me? So like bring your kids in on that. And so it's like a family thing. And so it is never, ever, ever, ever too late.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. And yes, I mean, think about as an adult, the things that your parents have said to you, because you kind of go back to the little child in a way when you're with your mom and dad, right?
Yeah.
And there's no people you want to please more in the world than your parents,
Still, yeah.
right? And you
Yeah.
want them to know that you're whatever, that they're proud of you, that they
Yeah.
think you're a great dad, a great mom,
Yeah.
they need to hear those things.
Yep.
And coming from you, it carries so much more power than coming from
So
anybody
much.
else.
Yeah.
So yeah, so even adult kids, just
Yeah. When my mom tells me, she's like, you do such a great job as a mom. Or, she's like, I see how hard you work for your kids. I know that's a lot. Like all of that stuff is just like, it means so much. It really
Mhm.
means a lot.
It does, because and you can draw on it.
Yeah.
It's like this reserve that you have that when you're
Yes.
feeling like a crappy mom or you just over a situation, right? You can say,
Yeah.
"Oh, my mom says I'm a good
You're
mom.
right.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna be okay.
I can do this.
I can do it." Exactly. Yeah, so true. So true.
Yes.
Okay, so man, we've covered a lot. You've done such a great job, Jody, of just sharing practical things that people can do and the effect that they actually have, the
Yeah.
real effect on kids. Apologizing, owning what you've done as a parent, and then going to your kid with it, letting your kid be responsible for
Yep.
whatever it happens to be, but for
Yep.
them to learn the responsibility of cleaning up their mess, whatever that mess is, a bad
Yeah.
grade or
Yeah.
spilled cereal, whatever it is, and taking that moment to pause. Oh gosh, it's almost like for me, I would sort of need some mantra in my head that
Hmm.
I always say, and
Yeah.
then
Maybe I'll
that
create
makes
one.
me pause. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, like like I don't know what it would be, but
Work
supermom.
on that.
Supermom.
Yeah.
I don't know. A superpower. I've got a superpower. I've got a superpower. But just to remind yourself, okay, just breathe for a second, pause,
Yeah.
and then talk. Because also, kids don't hear you when you're yelling. It's like Charlie Brown's teacher, wah, 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 right?
Yes.
Like you're
So
not hearing.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Their
raising your
fight, flight,
voice,
or freeze is
right?
activated and they can't take in anything.
Mm,
100%. So
yeah.
it's not effective at all,
Right.
besides
Right.
creating
Right.
disconnection.
Right. It might make you feel better, but it's better for you to go in a padded room and they can't hear you scream and
Which I
shout.
have done before. Go in my closet. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. Right. Take the pause. I'll be in a moment. Go
Yes.
do what you got to do. But this has been great, Jody. And I really encourage people to buy the book. Jody, where can people find you? Where can they find your book and your guide?
Yeah. So the best place that you can find me online is just Instagram. That is where I put up content for parents and give a glimpse into my life. And that's just Jody Hill Parenting. And then what I have for your listeners, if they go to it's jodyhill.com, they will get a free download. So they get the first chapter of my superpower strategies. They get the first superpower strategies for my audiobook. And it's also available in PDF for those of you who want to read in PDF version. And then I've also created this document that's my top confidence boosters and busters. And I think the thing about a lot of parents is we have great intentions, but we don't realize that some of the things that we're saying are actually inhibiting the confidence of our kids. Just like I had thrown out a few before where it's like, oh, they're always so difficult, or oh, you're just messy. Like things like that impact. So I put together like a cheat sheet of like top confidence boosters and busters that you can say and do with your kids. So if they just go to podcast.itsjodyhill.com, and I know you'll have it in the show notes, like that will give them access to that. And then they can also get my book at a discounted rate that's even cheaper than what's on Amazon. So
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah.
That's awesome. So yes, and absolutely we'll have it in the show notes for sure, for sure. And I would say it's so generous of you to give the first chapter. I love the cheat sheet too. That's so good because we don't necessarily realize what we're saying at times.
Yeah.
And if you just reframe the point that you want to get across, like a world of difference.
Yep.
But even the first chapter, even if people only read the first chapter of your book, that would change things for them.
Yeah.
And so by you giving the first chapter, of course, I can't imagine not wanting to buy the rest of the book, but even that alone, because there's so much good just in that first chapter, that if you do those things, if you cling on to
Yeah.
that, things are going to go smoother for you and better for your kids. So
Yeah.
thank
Start
you for
somewhere.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Yeah.
But
Yeah. And I encourage everybody out there, buy the book, go to Jody's website. And you probably know people that this book would be great for. And so get it.
yeah.
And then if you got like a mom group, Jody has this incredible guide that takes you through it and exercises and things to really think about. And you can do this in a group. You
Yeah.
can
If
do
there's
it alone.
group questions, yeah, right
Yeah.
in there.
But yeah, you can do it in a group. So if you get together in a mom group, this is so perfect. Like this is so good. So don't just buy one, buy for your friends. Support Jody because she's out there doing it, and we need people to help us. I need you, Jody, to know how to be a
Mm,
better parent. So, Jody, I appreciate you so much. Thanks again so much for being here.
thank you. Thanks again for what you're doing and that I get to be a part of it. And I just appreciate it. It's been great.
Yeah. Well, thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank you everybody for joining us. And I just pray that until we see each other again, that you keep your heart open and you live your love loud.